Hey everybody, Professor Ball here. How's it going? I wanted to just quickly go over the sample essays that I had for you on paper number 1. And I will tell you that I thought paper number 2, which was the one in vaccines, was the best one, and I'll tell you why. The first thing I look at is MLA format, and it's not a big deal, but I still look at that. And you have your last name here and the page number. You have your name, my name, the class, and the date. Everything is double spaced, and I had said to some people that Microsoft Word adds extra spaces. I don't think Google Docs does, but make sure it is set up like this. Not a great title, but it's all right. The only thing that I have a problem with initially with this paper is in your assignments, what I've been telling you to do is to introduce the subject matter. So if this one's about vaccines, offer some background or context about vaccines and what's happening right now. This person just jumped right in with, according to the host of Last Week Tonight, blah, blah, blah. So you need background or context, and I think paper number 1 didn't do it. Paper number 3 did. Paper 3 was not perfect, but it does have some good points. This might be too much background, too much context, but this is an example of what I mean, where you introduce a topic. You start out very general. In this case, it's about immigration. You get a little more specific by introducing the source, and then by the end of the first paragraph, you'd have your thesis statement, which takes me back to paper number 2. This is what I mean by a thesis statement. Well, what is it that you're going to analyze about the video? What is it that you're going to talk about in your paper? Well, through the use of parent interviews, statistics, and appealing to the audience's emotions, John Oliver is able to bring awareness on the importance of getting vaccinated and educated. So this is a pretty good thesis statement because he's going to talk about interviews, statistics, and appealing to the audience's emotions. You want to make sure that you respond to the prompt, you answer the questions. So, and I've said this to a few people, look at the language of the prompt. The words claim or evidence or rhetorical appeals or humor, those are some of the words that you'd want to include in your thesis because that's what you're going to be talking about. We spent some time talking about summary versus analysis, and I wanted to show you this because I think the student did a pretty good job. He makes a point, he illustrates it, and the explanation would be, well, why are you telling me this? Well, I'm telling you this because by Oliver introducing such factual evidence to his audience, it increases his credibility. So you make your point, you illustrate it, that's where a quotation comes in, and then the explanation is, why is this important? Why is this significant? Same thing here. The student doesn't say pathos, so make sure you use the language of the prompt with ethos, logos, pathos, kairos. He does say emotions. And then he offers you an example of the emotions. And not so much an explanation here about why he's using the emotions, but he does kind of talk about it. You know, ending such a touching story with a derogatory remark can turn the audience away from the point at hand. I will say, though, that this is a good connection to the use of humor in the essay. And then what the person does, and this is something for you to remember, is for your outside sources, I think the best place for those to come in is after you've talked about what you needed to do in terms of questions, like before your conclusion. But if your outside sources tie into something else that you've brought up, like the use of humor or the use of rhetorical appeals, go ahead and do that. But I think this is a good way to kind of ease into the idea of the outside sources. So there's that. So that's a good one. The student worked well with quotations. You'll see that they are not hit and run, meaning he or she introduces the author. You have a verb here, then you have a comma. So verb, comma, quote, blah, blah, blah. And then you have that bottom piece of bread. Well, why are you telling me this? Well, those use of statistics, blah, 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 blah. So that's good. So this is I think the strongest paper. This one was not great. It was good. You have the background, and then you can clearly see that every paragraph has a point about the claims, about the evidence, the use of humor, and so on. So that is good. So I would say paper number 2 is first, paper number 3 is second, and the reason why paper number 1 is last is there's no thesis statement. The person doesn't tell me what they're going to analyze. He or she mentions use of video clips and humor, but there's not that one sentence that tells me, the reader, oh, this is what the person's going to talk about. They spend paragraph 2 talking about claims, paragraph 3 talking about claims, paragraph 4 talking about claims, and then the student moves on to the next thing, which is, oh, humor. Oh, that's right. That's part of the prompt. And then how it was effective, that's good. So this one does not respond to the prompt. Papers 2 and 3 do. All right, so those are my 2 cents on the sample essays. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.